If you look broadly at law, you'll see that when it comes to women's participation, the job is done. So last year, 67% of all law graduates were women. And for over 20 years, more than 50% of graduates have been women. So when I went into law school in 1989, the previous few years we'd had more than 50% women graduating. But we know that the job isn't done. If you walk into most management meetings in major law firms in Australia, you won't see 50% women at the strategy table. You won't see 40%, you won't see 30%. In fact, when it comes to managing partners or CEOs, you will see 3.2%. So I am a female CEO, and going to Simone's point, I'm very much an outlier in that respect. So did they need a quota? No, they didn't. What they needed was the discussion at the firm, and that discussion that exposed that unspoken assumption that there was only room for one person at the table. And what that has undoubtedly shown to me is that we all need to question every assumption that we make about the roles of women, not just the assumptions that other people make, the assumptions that we make. When I was appointed CEO, I was pretty reluctant to take the role because I loved practicing law. And that was really what I was trained to do. I was never trained in management. And it was my husband who challenged my assumption that firstly, I wouldn't enjoy being CEO, and secondly, that it wasn't the right thing for me to do with 2 young children at the time. Well, they're still young, they were even younger then. So he convinced me to take the role. And you do have to ask why. Did he really want me to travel constantly and not be available to drop off my kids or pick them up and be stressed out by my job 24/7? I don't think so. I like to think that he loves me. But he did put me into a position, or convince me to go into a position where I've been able to show over the last 2.5 years, the 550 odd people at Maddocks, that a CEO can be a woman and that it can be done differently. I love being the CEO most of the time, has its moments. But by being the CEO and taking an active stance around gender equity and other forms of diversity, I've been able to challenge many assumptions that people in our business have made about what leadership looks like, sounds like, feels like, and about what women want in their careers and when they want it. But you don't need to be a CEO to do this. You do need to have an inquisitive mind. You do need to be prepared to challenge your own assumptions and always think about the assumptions you're making when you're making or expressing views about what's right for other people. And you have to be prepared to challenge the assumptions of others and just ever so politely ask people, why?